pretty sharp outing last night by Cliff Lee. In fact, it was probably the best one of the year for him. It went 8 innings and he struck out 14. You can see from the beginning, even though he gave up a hit in the first inning, that he was right on top of his game. He got the 3 and 4 hitters out 3 times last night on strikeouts. In fact, Christian Yelich, who goes down there, said, all I wanted to do my last time up was make contact. Well, he did, but it didn't matter. Meanwhile, Cliff Lee certainly made contact. Cliff Lee last night drove in 4. He also picked up his first career triple. It took him a few moments to catch his breath, but he'll take it. And then he topped it all off with his 4th RBI. This one a seeing eye single up the middle, and it was his night. And as it turned out, it was the Phillies' night. He had 14 strikeouts, they had 14 hits, and they're hoping it carries over to Game 2 tonight against the Miami Marlins here at Citizens Bank Park. Hi, everybody. I'm Tom McCarthy along with Chris Wheeler. You know, last night was Cliff Lee's night, but early on, the game was kind of opened up by Chase Utley, who's having himself a heck of September, and it's actually great to see him finishing strong because of all the knee problems he's had in past years.
Sure is, Tom. That's one of the reasons why he's swinging the bat so well, too. Last night, he pulled a ball to right field. He hit it off the Budweiser sign for a 3-run home run, basically broke this game open early for the Phillies because they had 4 quick runs off the young right-hander Dyson, and then they went on to score a lot more. But in watching him lately, he's hitting the ball all over the place, and one of the reasons, in my opinion, is he has his legs. When you don't have your legs under you, you have a tendency to drift out. You pull everything because you're early, you're trying to get started. When they have that base that he has right now, he's able to stay back, hit the ball the other way. As a result, they're out of that pull defense on him right now, and he has a lot more room to spray the ball around. This is what he's been able to do to get that many at-bats back in the months of February and March, when you were wondering what kind of a year could he possibly have. Well, you have a pretty good idea right now. The guy is healthy. When Chase Utley is healthy, he's still a prime player.
Extra base hits are a big thing for Chase Utley, and this year he has more extra base hits than he's had in any year since 2009. That may not seem like that big of a deal, but it certainly is for the Phillies, not only for 2013, but even beyond. It is Game 2 of this 3-game series. Brian Flynn, the tall left-hander, will make the start for the Marlins. He'll be opposed by Roy Halladay, who is making his 12th start of the season. You know, a couple other things that stood out last night. Cliff Lee pointed out the defense by the Phillies. How about that play by Jimmy Rollins? He showed arm strength. He also showed legs. So did Chase Utley on that play to Lee. We'll be back with the lineups and first pitch when we return. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Coca-Cola. Toyota. Toyota's nationwide clearance event is going on now. Toyota, let's go places. By Xfinity, the official HD triple play provider of your Phillies. By Citizens Bank, where good banking is good citizenship. Isn't it time you experience good banking? And by Independence Blue Cross, the most preferred health plan in the region. Independence Blue Cross. Live fearless. Against the Miami Marlins, it's Game 2 of a 3-game series. Earlier tonight, the Dallas Green Award was presented to the late Eddie Bachman, It was accepted on his behalf by Lois and Gary. And, of course, Dallas was there to present. Marty Wolliver was there, too. Great honor for a great man, Wheels. I know that you knew him fairly well, and he obviously helped scout a number of very good players.
Yeah, I knew Eddie. He was a great guy, Tom, and just seeing that picture of him there back in his days when I first met him, and that's what he looked like. And there's great Larry Bowa stories about him. He's the guy that tells the Larry Bowa story, how he kept trying to go scout him, but he kept getting thrown out of games. And Eddie had so many stories about Bo. He signed Vuk. He signed Buck Martinez, guys like that were in the Phillies organization. So he was a tremendous scout out in that Sacramento area.
Well, honored today, and rightfully so, with the Dallas Green Award. Phillies have watched Roy Halladay finish up his warm-up tosses for tonight's ball game. And he'll get set to face the Miami Marlins for the third time this year. And he'll face Donovan Solano, Ed Lucas, and Christian Yelich, the first three hitters. Doc comes into this ball game with a record of 3-4, an ERA of 7.28. He has 49 strikeouts in 55 2/3 innings. But he's walked 31, which is an odd number for him. Here's the first pitch of the night to Solano, and it's in there for strikes or underway. Doc at his last start went just 4 1/3. He allowed 5 runs, 4 of which were earned. And 4 hits. 0-2 to Solano. He's had 2 very interesting starts against the Marlins this year, Wheels. The first one, he was outstanding. 8 innings, 5 hits, and 1 run down in Miami. And the second one is the game that eventually led him to the Sable list.
Right, that was that Sunday afternoon when he just struggled so much in that ball game. Chavarria hit the grand slam home run off him to right field. He gave up, 7 runs in that game? 9 runs, I think it was. And just a very, very difficult outing for him that day. And then finally, after the game, talked about the shoulder pain he was having. And you're right, then that started the surgery and all the other things that have happened with him.
9 earned runs at 2 1/3 in the last start against the Marlins. Little dribbler foul, and it remains 2-2 to Solano. Donovan Solano is hitting .248 this year with 3 home runs and 31 runs batted in. He was hitless in 4 at-bats last night for the Marlins. And he fouls another one back. So right out of the chute, this is a 6-pitch at-bat. Pitch number 7 is coming in a moment.
Yeah, had him 0-2. Threw him 2 fastballs away. One he fouled off, and now all of a sudden up to 7-pitch at bat.
Inside, 3-2. Fly ball center field, playable for Cesar Hernandez. It's not that deep. And there's 1 out here in the top of the first. Well, the umpires for tonight's ball game, they're a little different than last night. Doug Eddings is behind the plate. Angel Hernandez is at first. Paul Nart is at second. And David Rackley slides in for Dana DeMuth, who has tonight and tomorrow off. So Angel Hernandez is the crew chief. Here's Ed Lucas. Lucas was 2 for 4 in last night's ball game. And the first pitch, a breaking ball over for a strike.
Well, he's thrown all 4 of his pitches right out of the chute here tonight. Fastball, cutter, curveball, and changeup.
There's a sinker, and it misses outside and a little low, 1-1. Lucas is batting .245. He has not faced Halladay in the previous 2 games, and he swings over top of a changeup, and it's 1-2. Not a bad spot. It just missed a little outside, 2-2.
He thought he ran that one back over the corner and didn't get it. That's just what they try to do, too. They try to do this little run and sinker type fastball, and Didn't get there.
Popped up foul out of play off to the right. And it remains 2-2. Doc comes into this ball game with 8 career wins against the Miami Marlins. Of course, the greatest of wins was the perfect game that he threw down in South Florida several years ago. He matched up against Josh Johnson that night. Boy, they were both really good, and Doc was just a little better.
Just a little. 1-0. Unearned run. One of the more memorable games you'll ever see.
Now it's 3 balls and 2 strikes to Lucas. And another foul ball, so it remains 3-2.
They really don't want to use a lot of pitchers here tonight, too, because they found out Kendrick can't go tomorrow. That will be a bullpen game tomorrow night for sure, with Zach Miner starting it for the Phillies.
There are the numbers we were talking about with Doc. 49 strikeouts and 55 2/3. And a changeup pulled foul toward the Marlins dugout.
See, what you're seeing right now early in this game is they're not swinging and missing at it. And they're fouling these pitches off, which a lot of times can be swing and miss and strikeout pitches. And you can see he's a little frustrated. Or even ones that they'll put in play and you can get an out.
Another fly ball, this one out to right field. Darren Ruff finds it, waits, and there are 2 outs. Let's take a look at the rest of the Marlins lineup. It's brought to you by Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. After Lucas, it'll be Christian Yelich, then Giancarlo Stanton and Justin Ruggiano. Chris Coghlan plays third base tonight. In the bottom third of Echeverria, Mathis, and Brian Flynn. Flynn making his first start against the Phillies.
6 foul balls already out of the 17 pitches.
There's a changeup on the outer edge. Yelich was 0 for 4 last night with 3 strikeouts. He commented about Cliff Lee after the game. He said, honestly, I just wanted to make contact the last time I was up. He was just perfect with everything he was throwing. His location with all of his pitches was so good.
Well, he was in and out on him all night last night, mostly with fastballs and cutters.
Former number 1 pick for the Miami Marlins. And he fights it off, and it remains 0-2.
Now, these are okay foul balls because it gets him to 0-2. It's when all of a sudden they start fouling him off with 2 strikes.
There's Cliff, who's a spectator here tonight after 14 strikeout performance last night. 1 ball, 2 strikes. That changeup skipped in the dirt. Cliff not only had a remarkable night last night on the mound, but it had a remarkable night at the plate, too. Ground ball back over the middle. Utley surrounds it, has to hurry the throw, and it goes right on by Kevin Franzen.
Mentioned last night, you could see Yelich when he went down the line. He only got to run once.
Oh, they called him out. They said he turned.
Didn't see that.
Wow, I didn't think he turned. I thought he went right up the line. Look at the chalk marks.
I think he did either.
Well, that's a break for the Phils.
But you could see last night he could run a little bit, and there was no chance to get him on that play, but they do get him.
Well, Carlos Ruiz saw something. I watched it the whole time. I didn't think he turned, but he did. So Halladay is through the top of the first. Take a look. He's up the line, still up the line, looks for the ball, and he jerked a little bit, but that was it. break to end the top of the first. Watch as Yelich wheels, goes right up the line, and watch where his feet, he doesn't move at all to second base. Little flinch right there.
And that he's looking right at him, too. Angel Hernandez is looking right at him. And Carlos saw that, too. He saw the little flinch that he gave, and you may as well go tag him, and maybe you'll get the call. And you see Hernandez imitating what he thought he saw. Yeah.
All right, let's take a look at the Phillies lineup. It's brought to you by Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. Leading it off at center field, Cesar Hernandez. Jimmy Rollins bats second. Chase Utley hits third, followed by Carlos Ruiz and Dominic Brown. Darren Rupp's in right field, he'll bat sixth. Kevin Franzen seventh. Freddie Galvis will hit eighth, and batting ninth at pitching is Doc, and they will face 23-year-old left-hander Brian Flynn from Oklahoma. 0-1 in 2 starts this year. First pitch is over for a strike. It's 0-1.
It's a big guy they got in the big trade they made with the Detroit Tigers. Brought some other guys over here that have played for them.
Yeah, including Rob Brantley, the catcher, who we've seen an awful lot of, who is not playing tonight.
And Jacob Turner, who's pitched quite a bit for them.
No balls and 2 strikes to Hernandez. And a called strike 3. Took a fastball at the knees, and there's one away.
Well, he threw that fastball 93, and that's what they say he tops out at. He's going to average around 90. Not a guy really known to throw a real big-time fastball. He'll throw slider, changeup, and as we mentioned, a former Detroit Tiger who has not been real good in his outing so far this year. In fact, he has 9 walks in 8 innings.
Yeah, they've worked on his mechanics during the week or 5 days since his last outing. And try to shore up those issues with his wildness.
Well, when you're this tall, you can have mechanical issues. One thing about him is he's working fast. He's going to keep his defense in the game.
1 ball, no strikes to Rollins. And Rollins pulls it toward third, a foul ball. Just foul, according to David Rackley.
Well, it's time for our Nissan keys to tonight's game. Cesar Hernandez did a good job last night getting started with what we call a recon on another first-timer. This time tonight he tried, but he kept taking strikes, and he was gone quick. And so he's taking another look tonight at Roy Halladay.
1 ball, 1 strike to Rollins. Rollins last night picked up his 30th double of the year. He has 10 years now in his career where he's had 30 doubles or more. He's on pace to reach 150 hits for the 12th time in his career. Out in front of a changeup, 2-2. Ryan Sandberg batting him second. Said he likes the fact that Rollins is batting second because he can do some things as a switch hitter. See some fastballs, pull the ball through the hole on the right side. And he pops it up. Second baseman Donovan Solano is out in shallow right, and there are 2 outs. Now 2 away, and here comes Chase Utley. Now, before there was the dominance of Cliff Lee last night, there was Chase Utley. His 3-run home run was part of a 4 RBI night that raised his total to 62. Fastball upstairs, 1-0.
Here it is with a real quick swing. Got a sinker right down the middle. It stayed up about thigh high, and it took a long, fast ride.
Takes a strike, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. That home run last night for Chase was his 26th against the Miami Marlins. Lucky McDonald's Phillies home run jackpot contestant is Terry Ballengall of Downingtown. Phillies hit a home run at tonight's ball game, then Terry will win $100. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Chase Utley. Chase had 2 of the 14 hits in yesterday's game. And he pulls one to right field, and that's going to drop in front of Stanton. So a 2-out single. Well, Cliff Lee last night not only struck out 14, as we said, but he also had 4 RBIs. He did some interesting things. He's the second pitcher in ML history to register 14 or more Ks in a game, in which he also had 4 or more RBIs. Dwight Gooden was the other one in '90. 4th pitcher since 1900 with 14 or more Ks and 3 or more hits. I don't know if we knew all of that while it was happening last night. We knew it was a pretty good night.
Yeah, well, they have so many ways to get all these neat stats now that you find out after the game, or maybe sometimes right before the game ends. Those are some good ones.
Chopper towards shortstop. Echeverria charges. And he flips over to first. Ruiz is retired. So are the Phillies here in the bottom of the first. No runs, 1 hit, and 1 man left. So Brian Flynn able to get through the first. We'll go to the second in a scoreless game. Mets. All fans coming to the yard will receive the 2014 schedule magnet. That's compliments of Independence Blue Cross. There are also a number of additional prizes and surprises for the final home game. You can purchase tickets by going to Phillies.com. Giancarlo Stanton will start things off. He had a base hit last night, but he also struck out 3 times. Takes a curveball outside. It's 1-0. By the way, just to sort of tie up the play that ended the top of the first, our understanding of the rule is that if a player or base runner takes a step toward second base, then he can be tagged out with the intent. The rule does say if the base runner jerks towards second, which I guess his upper body did, but I guess it's all under the interpretation of the umpire on the intents. And without asking Angel Hernandez, I'm not really sure what his thought was on that. But it does say that in Rule 7.08c.
That one was a little nitpicking. Some other terms for it, but you can understand why they would not be happy about it as far as the Marlins go.
3 balls and 1 strike to Stanton. On the outside corner, 3-2.
A lot of 3-2 counts here early in this game. 3 of them out of the first 4 hitters.
Outside, ball 4. So there's the first walk issued by Doc. And that'll bring Justin Ruggiano to the plate. Let's go to Murph for an update on Kyle Kendrick. Murph?
All right, thanks a lot, Tom. Well, you guys touched on it a little bit. Zach Miner will get the spot start tomorrow. The reason being Kyle Kendrick had an MRI today because he was having some soreness in his shoulder. It's something that Ryan Sandberg said that he's been dealing with for a couple of weeks now, but it hasn't really caused them much problems. But they decided they were going to do the MRI. He called it very cautionary and conservative. They really just wanted to put Kyle's mind at ease to make sure nothing was structurally wrong in there. So they'll take a look at that and find that out. But because of that, he will not make his start tomorrow. You'll remember after his last start, Ryan Sandberg had said that his sinker was a little bit flat, and that is obviously a very important pitch for Kyle Kendrick. They're not sure whether or not that had anything to do with the soreness, but they really just want to get it all, figured out. So they're going to do that tomorrow, and instead, Zach Miner gets the start, and hopefully they get good news back on Kyle Kendrick, and we'll certainly let you know when we know.
Yeah, Ryan could not say whether Kyle was done for the year. He said He just doesn't know at this point, that only time will tell. Obviously, it has not been a great second half for Kendrick, but you would think that he would want to get back out there just to kind of feel good going into the offseason.
Yeah, and the Phillies would definitely like to see him go out there and be healthy at the end of the season, as opposed to saying, well, he'll be okay in spring training, and then all of a sudden he isn't, if you're counting on him.
He's been so durable, though, as a pitcher for the Phils over the years.
Right, and he throws a lot, mechanically and all the things that he does with sinkers and all that. Sometimes those guys can get hurt throwing a lot of sinkers, but in his case, as you say, he's been very durable.
1 ball and no strikes to Chris Coughlin. Coughlin pulls it toward first. Diving play by Franzen. He'll get the runner at first as the ball popped up out of his bare hands and right back into his bare hands.
It's a do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. He had a great idea there when he caught that. First of all, it was a nice play to catch it, and he thought, I'm going to go get that lead, man. And then I better go get the ball was after that. Here you go right there. That's a really nice play that Kevin makes, and he's going to go get the lead man, but it slips out of his hand. Luckily, it popped right back into it. Look where it pops up. Right where you can catch it and be running towards first base at the same time.
Well, 2 away, runner at second base, and here's Echeverria, who was 1 for 4 last night with an RBI.
This is the guy that caused Roy Halladay all those miseries here in that Sunday game you were talking about, Tom, that finally led to the shoulder surgery. He hit that grand slam home run to right field that they went in and took a look at and was ruled a slam.
He had a 7 RBI day that afternoon.
Yeah.
He only has 37 RBIs overall. Up high, 1 ball, 1 strike. Echeverria has 3 hits against Halladay, including that grand slam. Pulled toward third, picked up by Freddie Galvis, and the side is retired. No runs, no hits, and 1 man left. How about the play by Kevin Franzen? He's been playing a lot of first base lately. He's kind of getting used to the angles. Certainly got used to it there. Picking it, and then making sure he got the out. when you're on the go, delivered right to your smartphone. Download the free CSN Sports app today. Bottom of the second. Scoreless ball game, each team with one hit. We'll say hi to the youngsters.
Hi.
Look, you brought a smile to that kid's face.
Yeah, well, that's me. It's my life's mission, Tommy.
Dominic Brown will lead it off here in the second. Phillies hit was a base hit by Chase Utley. The Marlins hit was the base hit by Yelich, who was then tagged out by Ruiz. He gets credited with a single, and then it's 2 unassisted on the putout. Dominic Brown takes strike one. It's 0-1. Dominic making his 120th start of the year, and it's 0-2.
Haven't seen this guy before. Throws him a breaking ball there, and he pulled off it. Well, he was really wild his last time. I remember watching that game on TV, and his mechanics, you're right, they are much better tonight. Even when he misses, he's close.
One thing that they tried to do when they acquired him from the Tigers down in the minor leagues with the help of Wayne Rosenthal, who's the Marlins pitching coordinator. He used to be up here in the big leagues for a short period of time, is they tried to lengthen his stride. He picks up a strike out of Dominic Brown, so that's his second strikeout of the night. I mean, he is 6'7", and I guess he was kind of short with his stride, like Tyson Ross from the Padres.
Well, if you lengthen his stride, it looks like he's right on top of the hitter.
Well, that was the thought.
You know, you're 6'7". There are a lot of things that can go wrong with your mechanics, but that pitch is a ball, but it's still one of those ones that's near the plate with 2 strikes where you may swing at it, and that's what Dominic Brown did there. But all his misses are close. Last week in that game he pitched against Atlanta, he was all over the place.
Here's Darren Ruff. Darren was 2 for 4 last night with a home run. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike.
Pitching backwards a little bit there where he throws a changeup 1-0 and in a fastball count and gets him to jump at it.
Down in the minor leagues, he won 25 games. He lost 19. This year, he was 7-12 overall. ERA, though, was just 2.63.
He is a fast worker. Guys are trying to step out a little bit on him, slow him up.
That one's pulled toward left center field. It'll be in for a base hit. So Darren Ruff has his 3rd hit in these 2 games.
That was a good swing there by Darren Ruff. Got kind of a flat breaking ball, looked like, out over the plate and hit it hard.
Toyota Major League Scoreboard. Game 1 today down in Washington, D.C. The Nationals, they got 3 runs against Craig Kimbrell in the bottom of the 9th inning. They scored the game winner on an error by Andrelton Simmons. So they won Game 1 6-5. Denard Span lengthened his hitting streak to 27 consecutive games with a base hit in his second at bat.
That's a pretty remarkable win they had today. Figure you're down 5-3 to Kimbrell.
And then he started walking everybody.
Walked a couple, infield hit, infield out, and then a booted ground ball. It wasn't like you don't see him get hit hard very often, and he didn't get hit hard today. But, you know, when you're hot the way the Nationals are, they found a way to win. You have to give them credit.
Yeah, so the magic number for the Braves to clinch the division is still at 4. Meanwhile, the Nationals are 4.5 games out of the last wild card spot.
Well, that's why that was so big for them today, especially with another game tonight.
No balls, 1 strike to Franzen. Inside, 1-1.
And that kid Tanner Rourke going tonight, and Freddie Garcia pitching for the Atlanta Braves in Game 2.
Yeah, Roark is 6-0.
Yeah, Roark 6-0, right, and has done a tremendous job for him. That's not a fluke 6-0, they say when you watch him pitch.
Tomorrow, Ross Ohlendorf will start the finale for the Nationals. And then they expect Steven Strasburg to settle in sometime this weekend into the rotation. Mathis just picked that last one. It's 2 balls and 1 strike.
Good hit and run count right here. That's what they're thinking too. See if maybe somebody gives something away, like the base runner flinches a little bit.
Opposite way, there's a base hit for Franzen. Ruff is to second. Now he's going to go to third. The throw by Stanton in the air, and he is a dead duck.
Whew.
That was a tremendous throw.
That was scary, how good that throw was. That's the kind of player he is. That's why I thought they may hit and run. And Ruff, in his mind, he did the right thing in his mind, but his legs can't get him there. He knew that ball wasn't hit that hard, and it was to the left of Stanton. So he figures, I can get to third. The problem is he doesn't run well enough to do it. See where it's hit? And he knew where Stanton was. 9 times out of 10, you're going to get to third base if you can run a little bit. That's a great throw.
Well, one day after Vladimir Guerrero, who had one of the best arms of this generation, retired officially, Giancarlo Stanton picks up his 7th outfield assist. That's a sprawling play by Coghlan. He's not normally a third baseman, but he makes a heck of a play to wrap up the 2nd inning. No runs, 2 hits, 1 man left. The arm of Stanton, the glove of Coghlan get the Marlins through the 2nd. Phillies.com. Go to the fans section for all the information, and please submit your answer on the subject line. Wheels, the question is, Chase Utley's 31 home runs in 06 broke the Phillies club record for home runs held by what second baseman? Answer will be revealed in the 7th inning. Utley has a lot of extra base hits this year, which is a good sign. Giancarlo Stanton, well, speaking of home runs, he's been injury plagued during his career. This year, he hasn't been able to hit as many home runs as he has in years past, but he just proved what kind of an athlete he is on a throw, not because he got Darren Ruff, who's not the fastest runner, but just the way he got to that ball and threw that ball on a line to third base.
Across his body, too, going to his left.
Jeff Mathis is swinging a miss on the first pitch.
Said Darren Ruff had everything figured out correctly. The only thing he couldn't do is outrun that throw.
Off the end of the bat into the dugout. It's 0-2. Now, you never like to see anybody get thrown out going at third base, but you like to see the aggressiveness of somebody like Darren Ruff?
Well, I think he thought through the play, too. You know, he turned around and looked and saw where the guy was and was aggressive on it. He just has to understand he has certain limitations. I've seen guys do that before, where great base runners in their mind. They thought the thing through, they just couldn't get there. The feet get me there, and they wouldn't get them there.
0-2 pitch. Ground ball to third. Freddie Galvis gobbles it up. Now, Charlie used to say that he never thought about decisions. Once he made those decisions, he never really thought about them anymore. Now, I'm sure he did think about them. You think Ryan Sandberg is looking at that saying, man, I wish I would have started him there with a hit and run?
Probably, and maybe the only reason he didn't was because they threw over. Because Rhino likes to do that, and that's why we mentioned at the time it was a perfect count to do it on with the type of hitter that you had. And if they had done it, and Kevin hit the same ball, yeah, they'd have gotten him to third. We'll have to ask him that tomorrow.
I just wonder, I mean, I guess any human would second-guess themselves, and not in a bad way, just to say, all right, I wish I would have done it differently here.
Well, we'll see if they were even thinking about doing it.
So he's find themselves at 17 and 13 under Ryan Sandberg as Flynn is struck out. He foul tipped that one. Now there's the first strikeout of the night for Doc, 50th of the year.
Last night was about as easy a game as he's had since he's been managing. Been so many one-run games and close games or getting blown out on the other side that his club had one of those last night. You just sit back and enjoy it. He did. Said, yeah, I had many decisions to make last night.
Donovan Solano fly to center his first time up. Ground ball through the hole, so he has a base hit. That's the second hit for the Marlins. Fourth hit for Solano against Doc. Well, every pitch is a strike in this inning.
This really should be a good team for him to pitch against after watching them last night, too, because they really swing. They're not a team that's going to be up there looking to run deep counts. And granted, they fouled balls off, but for the most part, they're a very free-swinging team.
And Lucas fly to right his first time. Ed Lucas spent a little more than 9 years in the minor leagues. He is out of Dartmouth College. And he said many times he thought to himself, what am I doing?
Really. Nice when you see a guy like that that perseveres and gets to play in the major leagues for a while.
Said his old college coach, and this is probably good advice for a baseball player, said the game will tell you when it's time to hang it up.
Well, it tells some guys, but they don't listen.
That was the other part of it. Just from reading some of the stories about him, there seemed to be points where he was going to listen. In fact, this last offseason, he was thinking about retiring and then decided to give it one more shot, and obviously it paid off. He spent most of this year here in the big leagues. He has 312 at-bats, and he shoots that one foul.
Yeah, and if it doesn't work out with the Marlins, they decide to go in a different direction, possibly what he's been able to do this year will make him attractive to another team as an extra man.
Well, Mike Redmond seems to like him. He's played him at third. He's played him at first. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Lucas. Inside, 2-2. Trying to get that out pitch going. This is the 4th 3-ball 2-strike count he's had to deal with tonight. So Lotto's going to be off and running from first. And the pitch. Hit foul. And he's reached 50 pitches with 2 outs here in the third.
Yeah, a lot of foul balls.
Ground ball left side. Rollins backhands, hurries the throw in time. And the sign is retired. No runs, 1 hit, and 1 man left. Halladay is through 3. We go to the bottom of the 3rd. .com. By W.B. Mason. You can't go wrong when you buy right. And by Mazda. We believe if it's not worth driving, it's not worth building. Bottom of the 3rd inning on a cool night here at Citizens Bank Park. It's more like late fall today.
It's chilly tonight. It got beautiful today, and then I got a little bit chilly at sunset. Those are perfect tonight.
Roy Halladay will lead it off for the Phillies. Doc is still looking for his first hit here in 2013.
He hasn't struck out every time he's been up.
0 for 16 on the year with 1 walk.
Bases loaded walk. He has a ribby out of it last game.
I think we've tried to describe how much of a workaholic he is, how much of a perfectionist he tries to be. He was in the cage yesterday, and he was trying to work on his bunting before he took his swings, and he didn't bunt it the way he wanted to, and he got really mad.
Yeah, he works at everything.
That's the part of this whole ordeal that he's had, coming back after the surgery earlier than people anticipated, trying to get himself back to at least close to where he was 2 years ago. This is not from a lack of work, as he goes down looking, and there's one away. Cesar Hernandez is due up. Let's check in with Murph. Greg?
All right, Tom, thank you very much. Well, the announcement made this afternoon of the 2013 Phillies Awards presented by the Baseball Writers of America, the Philadelphia chapter. You see Don Brown, he won the Mike Schmidt Award for the team MVP. Cliff Lee took home the Steve Carlton Award for the top pitcher at the major league level. How about Charlie Manuel was selected for the Dallas Green Special Achievement Award because of his 1,000th managerial win. And Kevin Franson gets the Tug McGraw True Pro Award for kind of emulating what Tug was all about, his outgoing personality and his ability to work with the beat writers. So congratulations to those guys. Those awards will be given out on Saturday, guys. And just a note that Charlie Manuel will not be here, but Chase Utley and Jimmy Rollins will accept on behalf of their former manager for Charlie Manuel. So good stuff, guys.
That's pretty nice. You know, the writers who are with the team on a daily basis, yes, they do have some days off. It's still one of the best things to see every morning, and now at night because of the internet, their coverage of the ball club, because they are in tune to everything that's going on. And even as information comes out faster and faster and faster on a yearly basis, they keep up with the speed. And I think that's pretty neat that they awarded Charlie the Dallas Green Award. That ball is floated down the right field line. That's going to be trouble, and Stanton will pick it up on one hop. Hernandez didn't see that it was going to be trouble right away, so he hesitated. So he'll stop at second. It's a base hit for Rollins, and the Phillies have 2 on with 1 out.
Yeah, Stanton can make it a little bit jumpy out there because he's so good. And he's already made a great play in the outfield. And even though Hernandez is looking right at that, he just did not get any kind of a jump where he thought he wouldn't catch it. And his number one thing is he doesn't want to get doubled off here. So he's looking. And right at that point, he still thought Stanton had a chance to catch it. Now he realizes he doesn't, but it's certainly too late to get to third base. So,
and it was up there for a little while, too.
Yeah, it was certainly up there long enough that Stanton may have been able to get over there. So that's a safety first play.
Dave Brundage, who is Hernandez's manager in AAA, said that he's an excellent base runner. He said he would like to see him be more aggressive on the base paths in smart situations.
Yeah. Well, after you saw what he did on that play to throw Ruff out at third base and how quickly he got to it, that'll make an impression. Meaning Stanton getting to it. That guy's some athlete.
No balls, 1 strike to Utley. He singled his first time up. Utley stays alive and flicks it into the crowd.
He's trying to
third base dugout.
Yeah, with 2 strikes, as you say, stay alive and hit the ball the other way. There's a huge hole on the left side. So they're playing him up the middle, and they're not over-shifting him with a center fielder towards left center. And they continue to pitch him away. You see that defense right there, and that's set up if he's going to continue to pitch you away to try and hit it that way.
Utley does hit it that way. It's a base hit into left field. Here comes Hernandez heading home. The throw by Yelich. It is not in time, and everybody moves up an extra base. And the Phillies take a 1-0 lead.
That's a great job by Chase Utley. You know, we kind of talked about it in the opening, how he's hitting the ball the other way, and I really feel it's because of his legs. He can stay back a lot longer. When your legs aren't there, hitters have a tendency to cheat with their upper body because that's what they have to use all the time. But look how he can wait, and he got way too much of the plate there, did Flynn, with 2 strikes, but still a really good piece of hitting. Juan Samuel sees the right fielder. Yelich has to go to his right and decides, I've got a good chance of scoring here. Tremendous base running. And you look back on the Hernandez play. All right, he didn't get the third, but he didn't get doubled off either, and they get a run out of it, and then they have a chance for more.
With Carlos Ruiz coming up, he's 0 for 6 in the series, and he lifts that one down the right field line, and that'll drop in foul territory. Phillies with 6 hits so far.
Well, Chase Utley's found that swing again to hit the ball the other way. Maybe he doesn't hit it out of the ballpark the way that he used to, but just to be able to do it again and to hit it hard, hit it soft, it's changed a lot of things for him, and it has to be his legs.
That one's back toward the middle, a base hit it to center field. Rollins will score. Here comes Utley. The throw by Ruggiano is not in time. 2-run single for Ruiz. 3-0 Phils.
Second time around against this guy, and they're getting some better swings. It's almost like they say, well, he's throwing a lot of strikes. He's around the plate, so we're going to hit him. A lot of fastballs, a lot of stuff that's hard coming up there. Not a lot of change-ups or slow breaking balls. Carlos gets that one right down the middle, uses the middle of the field. Some more really good base running and aggressive coaching there by Juan Samuel. Ruggiano makes a nice play on that. Beats it.
So Carlos with his first hit of the series. Chuck Hernandez is out to talk to the left-hander. Flynn is out of Wichita State, which has produced a number of very good major league and professional athletes. He was drafted out of high school, decided not to sign, and moved up 10 rounds when he was selected by the Tigers out of Wichita State.
Tyler Green go to Wichita State? Phillies Tyler Green?
I think he did.
He's the #1 pick by the Phillies.
I know Rick Green went to LSU. I think Tyler Green.
Well, we'll go to the cloud.
I know Mike Pelfrey from the Mets was a #1 pick. He went to Wichita State. Here's Dominic Brown. He takes low. Dominic struck out his first time up. Ground ball off the foot of Brown. So 1 ball, 1 strike. Another ground ball foul, 1-2. Ruiz is a very short lead off first. Tyler Green was drafted by the Phillies out of Wichita State in the first round of the '91 draft.
Yeah. Talking about all the good players that came out of there, and I was trying to think of Phillies. Thought the Phillies had one. It is Tyler Green.
In the dirt, right through the 5-hole. Up to second goes Ruiz. The ball is running up the first base line. Carlos is trying for third. The throw is in time.
Yeah, boy.
Well, Carlos got a little over-aggressive there.
A little bit, because he's already in scoring position. As a catcher, you know, he's trying to figure out what's going on there, and he thinks that's a tough play for the catcher, so he's going to get to third. But another guy doesn't run that well. Thought process, outstanding. Legs? Did this hit the umpire?
I think it did. That's why it shot the other way.
That's why it made that thump sound like it hit his shin guard. And that's what it did. It kicked the other way. And he's figuring, well, the catcher has a tough play. Well, he didn't think the first baseman was going to get him.
Echeverria throws out Dominic Brown. The side is retired. The Phillies do score 3 runs in the inning. Carlos had a 2-run single, was eventually tagged out going from first to third on a wild pitch. Candy bar to satisfy your sweet tooth or a healthy snack to keep you in playing shape. WB Mason has all the bases covered. Who but WB Mason? Phillies find themselves on top 3-0 as we go to the 4th. Roy Halladay will face Christian Yelich, Giancarlo Stanton, and Justin Ruggiano. 3, 4, and 5 for the Marlins. And he's got a lead to work with. Nothing overpowering by Doc. He's got Chase Utley and Carlos Ruiz to thank for this lead. But Doc is around the strike zone, which isn't a bad thing. As Wheels mentioned before, with this Marlins team, they don't take a whole lot of pitches. They do some swinging.
The young players, that's what they do. They'll come up and try and make their point right away by swinging at first pitches, especially fastballs.
1 ball and no strikes to Yelich. He singled his first time up. Off the end of the bat foul, 1-1. Carlos taking a peek to see where Yelich's feet are, what he's thinking as a hitter. And that pitch is low in the dirt, 2-1.
Carlos is always looking up, looking at the feet. It's part of what a catcher will do, especially on the good hitters. Good hitters usually stand in that same spot just about all the time.
That one's out towards center. Cesar Hernandez didn't see it right away, but recovered nicely. So what away, Giancarlo Stanton's coming up. Well, speaking of Roy Halladay, let's take a look at our Mazda leaders. He is the active leader in winning percentage, ahead of Joe Nathan, a relief pitcher, of course. And then starters, Jared Weaver, Tim Hudson, and Justin Verlander. Well, you wonder what kind of year Verlander, or what kind of postseason Verlander is going to have for the Tigers. As Stanton has that ball clip him on his leg. That is the 10th batter that Doc has hit this year. He hit 12 in 2008, but he had a whole lot more innings. Anyway, Verlander 13-11 this year with a 3.66 ERA. As you look at this pitch, and it just barely got him on the hip.
Yep.
Even though his ERA is a run higher than it was last year. That ball's hit out to left field, playable for Dominic Brown. And there are 2 outs.
Doc just getting that out of the middle of that bat. That ball there, just with the way it was going, have a tendency to go a long way. He's got pretty good arm motion on his pitches.
Now that's a big deal if he's not going to throw 94, 93, 92 again, right?
Yeah, and I think what they're talking about is it takes some time to be able to get back to the velocity. Even if then, I mean, but you got to get more innings under your belt. You got to throw more pitches. Then hopefully it'll get stronger and stronger. But even if it doesn't, what he has, he can pitch. Obviously in the major leagues, but again, it'll have to be more movement, hitting your spots, not able to get that ball by you, usually up in the zone where it was 94, 95.
Delivers outside 2-0 to Coghlan. Coghlan grounded out to first his initial time up back in the second. Inside, ball 4. So a hit batter and a walk here in the 4th. And that'll bring Echeverria to the plate. Well, tomorrow's the last time you get a chance to see the Miami Marlins here in Philadelphia at Citizens Bank Park. Phillies have 4 home games left tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Tickets are available by going to Phillies.com for the series finale between the Phils and the Marlins. Echeverria grounded out to Galvis his first time up. Ground ball left side. Rollins is there. His only play is third, and they get the force play. Momentum was carrying him that way, and he made a clean throw on the run, and the side is retired. No runs, no hits. 2 men left. We played 3.5. Doc and the Phils have a 3-run lead. Of your Phillies by Citizens Bank, where good banking is good citizenship. Isn't it time you experience good banking? And by Nissan. Choose Nissan today for great offers on our most innovative lineup ever. Shop ChooseNissan.com. Bottom of the 4th inning, Phillies up 3-0. Brian Flynn, the left-hander from Owasso, Oklahoma, has given up 7 hits so far, including 4 in the 3rd. And Darren Ruffle lead it off. Ruff singled his last time up, was thrown out trying to go from first to third on a ball hit by Kevin Franzen. One ball and 1 strike.
Should be an easy guy to pick up for a right-handed hitter. Comes right over the top. See a lefty throwing 90-91. That's good hitting speed.
I think this was a prime example, and you would know this better than me. First time through, because of the scouting report, he had 9 walks in 8 innings. They were probably a little more patient than they are this second time through. Second time through, they thought, all right, and I think Wheels touched on this a little bit. He's throwing a lot of fastballs. He's throwing a lot of pitches for strikes. Let's go after him. And that certainly helped them score the 3 runs in the bottom of the 3rd.
Well, that is Steve Henderson's philosophy. Go after him, but make sure it is a quality strike. Talk with him today because he had Mr. Franco, Michael Franco, who was the player of the year, obviously, in the minor leagues. Interesting on his take on how he got him to be able to hit the slider, which was get a machine that throws a slider, and he had him swing at him in the dirt balls there because he was doing it so many times until he actually learned how to hit the ball that was up. Talking with him today, I went up and introduced myself and said, hey, I hear you a pretty good hitter. And as a matter of fact, he said, yeah, I can really hit. So I went over and asked Steve Henderson. Steve had him, and he said he's developing to a real good hitter, being able to have power to all fields. And as a young player, to be able to hit the ball the other way, that's special.
Well, I saw one game this year where Michael Franco played. He played third base, made a couple plays, and hit a home run, and it was a moonshot.
Yeah. I mean, he claims, too, right now, he could hit up here. He patterns his game after Adrian Beltre with Texas Rangers third baseman.
Well, if he can provide that kind of production in the big leagues,
we'll take half of that.
Yeah, he's been taking some ground balls, or he did take some ground balls over at first base.
Well, it's a mere fact, though, that a young player able to drive the ball the other way, and I thought more so impressive the way that Steve Henderson got him to lay off of that slider by just going on again and making him swing at it there in the dirt. So what happens is now you start to, with your eyes, know that you got to get that pitch up in order to be able to handle it.
Ground ball softly hit toward third. Coghlan goes to second for one, and the return throw in time to get Franzen. The ball wasn't hit all that hard. I thought Kevin had beat it, but Angel Hernandez thought differently. 5-4-3 on the double play. 2 outs.
Well, I thought he had beat that too. Ball not hit very hard. Pretty good toss there. I didn't even think he was going to throw. Shows you that strong arm. Bang, bang there at first base.
Here's Freddie Galvis. Galvis grounded out his first time up.
See exactly whether or not.
He beat it.
Now, I wonder when they look at the replay, will they change that automatically?
Well,
so
if,
you
if,
have to.
If Ryan Sandberg contests it and they see that replay right there up in New York, then they'll overturn it. So they'll put a runner at first, taken out off the board. It has to be conclusive, Sarge. That right there was conclusive.
I would think so.
Freddie golfs it to center. Ruggiano makes the one-handed grab for the final out. No runs, no hits, and nobody left. Well, if they do wind up looking at this particular play next year, that's what they'll see. They'll freeze it and see the ball is out of the glove and the foot is on the bag. Leaders. Get fit as you learn about nutrition with Phillies Fitness, a program presented by NovaCare Rehabilitation. You can get information by emailing FanDev, D-E-V, at Phillies.com. Program provides a free tip booklet, posters, and the chance to receive a Phillies Fitness workout session. We go to the fifth. Jeff Mathis leads it off. It'll be Mathis, Flynn, and then Donovan Solano. 0-1 the count. Marlins will have to get hot toward the end of the year not to lose 100 games. No team wants to reach that particular negative milestone. They have some issues, obviously, that they have to deal with on a yearly basis. There were articles today in the Miami papers that their owner, Jeffrey Loria, is making according to some sources that the paper used, making most of the baseball decisions. Mike Redmond in his first year took over for Ozzie Guillen. Took over a very young team, had a coaching staff that was brand new. It included Tino Martinez as the hitting coach when the season began. Swing and a miss by Mathis. He struck out. That's the second strikeout for Doc. Martinez was let go after the organization did some investigating about some issues that some of the players had with Tino, and they named John Pearson, who's their field coordinator, as the interim hitting coach. So next year they'll probably have a new hitting coach, along with a lot more young players, it seems.
Yeah, well, John still wants that job. I know John from our Chicago Cub days when I was the coordinator. Right now, John, his job was the field coordinator for the Miami Marlins, and he had had that position for 10 years. He was also drafted early on by the Kansas City Royals in '73. So I was asking him, how difficult or was it easy to come in with these guys? And it's easy for him simply because he's had all these guys as the field coordinator. So he's been in baseball professionally for almost 19 years. He was over to a coach at the ASU. So here's a guy that, again, that he's been in the minor leagues a long, long time, but he gets his due, or he gets his respect, I should say, from longevity and also the players really knowing them. No, it's very difficult to win this way. A lot of the veteran players not even playing anymore. Juan Pierre hasn't played one game since the All-Star break. Again, first guy out there at the ballpark. You won't find anybody there earlier than Juan Pierre.
Yeah, Juan hasn't played a whole lot. Placido Polanco hasn't played a whole lot. He's fooling around right now with Dominic Brown and Jimmy Rollins about that last ball that was hit by Brian Flynn. 1 ball, 1 strike to Solano. And inside 2-1.
Well, he plans on trying to play next year. Said he just didn't want to hang him up like that. But then if he didn't, he felt that he has had a pretty good career. And I'll say he has, getting the best ability out of his talents. Hitter learning to keep that ball out of the air, realizing that stolen bases, runs scored was the way that he had to play, and he's done a great job.
Here's the 2-2 pitch from Halladay. Opposite way, Darren Ruff to his left, and he can't get it. It goes by him. Ball was slicing the whole time, and Solano's on his way to second. He'll stop there. Yeah, that's his 11th double of the year. Two-out hit, and it'll bring Ed Lucas to the plate.
Now this ball here smoked. Probably out over the plate, and it was. No movement. You can see the reaction of Doc there. And Darren just not quick enough to be able to have that step to get over.
Lucas is 0 for 2. He's flied out, and he's grounded out. Takes outside. Foul ball, 1-1. Ball
Well,
got a
I
piece
guess
of Ruiz.
Miami, they have to have or let those younger guys play to see what they have so that they can go out and adjust during the offseason. Hard, though, like most of the instructors were talking. You got to develop up here and teach.
Franzen on the run into foul territory and runs out of room. I think that's hard to do. Well, it is hard to do on the major league level.
Well, I mean, they don't have a choice. Players are rushed up to the major leagues so soon that they don't get enough at bats, for instance, in the minor leagues. And then the other thing is difficult to play, throwing to the wrong base, knowing to get the ball down.
That one's going to go through the hole on the left side. A base hit. Brown comes up with it. Solano's heading home. Here's the throw to the plate on one hop. It is not in time. It gets away from Ruiz, and Lucas will go to second. So this is a 3-1 ball game. Be an RBI single for Ed Lucas. And that's his 24th RBI of the year.
Tell you what, pretty good throw there, but I think for me, you either want to get a longer bounce or throw that ball all the way for your catcher. Makes it easier for him. That's a little bit of a short hop. Could have been over just a little bit. Pretty good throw because he did have that down, even though the runner advanced.
Well, Doc now going to try to keep Lucas over at second and keep this a 2-run game here at the top of the 5th. Yelich is 1 for 2. A lot of cutters tonight for Doc.
Yeah. That ball in a very good spot. Doesn't matter really how hard that was in that particular area. You hit it, usually you'll pull it.
Eighty pitches for Doc.
So I think that's the pitch for me that hurts him more than any. It's that breaking ball that you need to maybe throw a little bit harder to be able to get there to trick the hitter. That's the one he's throwing a little bit soft with not that same velocity. That's a big pitch and has been throughout his career. And he knows he wants to keep it down because you get it up. That becomes a hanger and easier for the hitter to try and hit the ball.
A little high with that, and it's 3-2. That was a changeup. Well, he's trying to meander through this 5th inning. He's got 5 3-ball counts. Most of those occurred in the first couple of innings. Just 2 in the last 3 innings.
Yeah, you want it to happen here. You don't want to face Stanton with runners on base. He's the one player there in that lineup that can take you deep anywhere.
Yeah, there's ball 4, so they're going to have to make a decision on Stanton. With runners on first and second and 2 outs, Stanton has walked and has been hit by a pitch. Tomorrow at 5, hear from the Phillies, Dominic Brown, plus Zach Berman and Jeff Mosier give their take on Andy Reid's return to Philly as a Chief on Thursday night. All that more on Philly Sports Talk only on Comcast Sportsnet. Stanton is 7 for 22 lifetime against Doc. Swing and a miss.
See, here's that spot I was talking about. That one only 85, but in such a great spot. Difficult for the hitter to get that bat head out toward where you need to. And here's a guy that's used to having guys on base, and when he does, he could blow the ball right by him. And now he's got to really concentrate on the spots. That's got to be a huge adjustment for Doc, even though he'll get used to it.
Well, this is a 25-pitch inning for Doc. He's facing Giancarlo Stanton, the best hitter in the Marlins lineup. The pitch And a liner foul down the left field line. That one he hung just a little bit.
Well, I tell you.
It's a good thing he was out front of it.
Oh, yeah. As Carlos will go out and tell him, hey, might want to get that ball down just a little bit. This is how strong he is. And there's that same curveball I was talking about. That velocity, not making that ball get down and away. He hangs it up there. You know, Stanton thinking maybe up the middle or whatever. That ball satellite.
Once again, the 1-2 pitch. Got him out front. Franz in foul territory. Has it lined up, and the side is retired. Well, Doc talks about learning to pitch a little differently. He was just able to pitch his way around a very tough inning. 1 run on 2 hits and 2 men left. Night at 7:05. German Heritage Night is Saturday. That's also a 7:05 start. Then Sunday the 22nd, Fan Appreciation Day. 2014 Phillies schedule magnet, free to fans courtesy of Independence Blue Cross. Tickets can be purchased at Phillies.com. Roy Halladay leads it off and takes a fastball for a strike. Doc struck out his first time up. Same scenario when the Phillies scored the runs. He led off. They scored 3. And it's 0-2.
You know, it's interesting, too. Left-handed pitchers, their ball almost automatically moves, whether or not they throw it soft or throw it hard. I think at times they don't even need to throw or try and throw that cutter because it just moves. It moves that way. It always has. I mentioned that before back in the day with Jerry Koosman pitching. They didn't call it a cutter, but it sure was cutting in there on you, and that's because of the movement of the left-handed pitchers.
Well, that ball seemed to tail away from Doc. He struck out for the second time. Cesar Hernandez is the batter. He shows bunt, takes the ball low, and it goes through Mathis again. 1-0. I think you're right about that, though, Sarge, because, you know, even on the lower levels, whether it be high school or college, same thing.
Right.
And they certainly don't throw as hard as this guy, but left-handers do have that extra movement.
They've always had it where left-handed pitchers, for whatever reason, would automatically have movement on their ball, whereas the right-hander would have to move their hands a certain way or cut the ball.
That ball is ripped right through the middle. Another base hit for Hernandez. He's 2 for 3 tonight.
It's got serious game. Starting to hit that ball. He stays within himself. He's got a good game plan going to the plate.
On the Toyota Major League scoreboard, Nationals lead the Braves 1-0. Denard Span just collected his first hit tonight He's now hit in 28 straight.
Wow. Well, he got off to a rough start.
Well, that's the longest hitting streak in the National League this year. Michael Kadire had one earlier in the year. Big game tonight for the Nationals. They already won game one. Now the Reds are leading their ball game against the Astros.
Tell you what, though, to pick up a doubleheader, I mean, hard to win a doubleheader these days.
Rollins off the end of the bat. That's going to right field. This time Hernandez reads it beautifully, and he'll coast to third as the throw comes into Lucas. First and third with one man down.
Now, that's the way you're supposed to run the bases. I mean, a base hit, you're not jockeying around, automatic, the ball is hit. He knows exactly where Stanton is playing. Take a look at it. He peeks right there. He's automatically going over to third. Huge situation when you have runners at first and third and less than 2 outs. Sure, boy, that third hitter is just loving that.
Well, Utley already has an RBI tonight. He has 5 RBIs in this series. Trying to give the Phils some more runs.
When you look at the Phillies and you'll say, hey, who's very good with runners in scoring position? Who would you trust with runners there in scoring position? Certainly Chase Utley would be one of those. The way Carlos Ruiz is hitting, I'd put him in that category. Maybe Dominic Brown early on when he was seeing the ball the way that he should and picking up some 2-out base hits. And both those first 2 guys, and especially this one, well, you'll strike him out occasionally, but he just doesn't panic. It's the key to being able to hit with runners in scoring position.
Utley rips one deep to right field. Forget about it. Man, did he turn on that. A 3-run home run for the second straight night. And the Phillies take a 6-1 lead.
Oh, boy. We're talking about a hitter locked in. This was a breaking ball he actually picked on. I mean, just a serious look in his eye. And it's a matter of fact, when he comes in, don't see a whole bunch of jumping up and down and, laughing here or there. He hits it and he acts like he's done it before. Check it out. Right there, middle in, more in. And that ball had some more distance to go before it hit that scoreboard. Now, this is last night off the Budweiser. That's where it landed. You could tell he's locked right in.
Well, that means that Terry Ballengall of Downingtown, Pennsylvania, has just won $100 compliments of Chase in the McDonald's home run jackpot, and the Phillies lead it 6-1. First 4 hitters in this lineup for the Phillies are 7 for 11 with 6 runs batted in. Carlos hits it foul. It's 1 ball and 1 strike.
Back in the day, we used to call that last month's salary drive, but the way that Chase has been hitting this month, even though he is signed, it's just, well, I tell you, when you hit a ball like that, I mean, it's just, takes a lot of hard work, first of all, and he studies it as well as anyone. But it's one thing to get a hanger, it's another thing to hit it.
There's a grounder to third. Coughlin behind the bag. Well, with that home run by Chase Utley, and for each one hit by the Phils this year, 1 tree will be planted by the Pennsylvania Horticultural Society as part of Home Runs for Trees. If you want to find out more about Home Runs for Trees, just go to the Phillies website at phillies.com/red goes green. You can pop on the article. It'll tell you that it's part of Plant 1 Million program the Phillies and Aramark and PHS established to refurbish the area of trees. Dominic Brown takes outside. It's 1-0. Dominic is struck out and grounded out.
can't get over how loud that ball is coming off of a bat of a home run.
Well, particularly the two that Chase has hit these last two nights.
And different pitches.
Yeah, I was going to say both with different personalities.
That just shows you, too. I mean, you can't bail on a left-hander if you hit a ball that way. You got to have that shoulder right there.
Out to shallow left, and Yelich comes running in to put it away. Side is retired. However, the Phillies scored 3 with one swing. Off the bat of Chase Utley, it's the second time in this series he's connected on a 3-run home run. Last night he hit the Budweiser sign. Tonight he crushes a curveball off the auxiliary scoreboard in right field. We go to the 6th. The Phils up by 5. Some kind of show Monday night. Lee could be amazing anytime he takes the mound, and he took it to the next level against the Miami Marlins. He pitched 8 dominating innings and struck out 14, his best since 2011. And of course, he allowed no walks. All this while eclipsing the 200 strikeout and inning plateau this season. That was just the beginning. He then ended a personal best 3 hits, 4 RBIs, and his first career triple. It was a very special night for Cliff, and it's brought to you by Independence Blue Cross. Live fearless. Well, the Phillies offense is doing a lot of the same things they did last night here tonight, backing the pitching of Roy Halladay, who's pretty pleased that the Marlins have swung early on a number of pitches, including that one there by Ruggiano. So 1 out here in the 6th. They'll bring Chris Coughlin up.
Always helps a pitcher out. Swing at that first pitch. Your balance isn't great. Off the end of the bat.
Coughlin's 0 for 1. He walked his last time up. Phillies do have bullpen action right now. Justin DeFreitas starts to throw. Two balls and no strikes. Popped him up. Freddie Galvis, foul territory. And now fair territory. 2 outs. Well, see, those pitches right there were in good spots. Fastball was at 87, but it was in.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can get away with it depending on that location. That was more in a hitter's count, and he was able to get it in because of the movement on the pitches that he's throwing. Well, the ones that really get tattooed are the ones that are out over the plate, don't have a lot of movement.
Echeverria is 0 for 2. He's grounded out twice. Inside 1-2 or 1-0. Ryan Sandberg has done a lot of observing during these games that he's managed. And he is not one to hold an opinion if asked a question. And he's doing a lot of evaluating, just as folks are evaluating him. Rich Doobie's doing the same thing.
Well, he carries himself in a high manner. He definitely knows the game of baseball.
Well, he's watching one of the game's greats sort of reinvent himself.
And he knows how important pitching is for your club.
That's a little low. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
From managing, from playing yourself, you can't do without it. It starts on the hill. Then you got to have some defense. Then you got to have guys that are able to drive in the runs for you.
Curveball hit towards short. To his right, a step is Rollins. And the side is retired. So Doc, with 99 pitches, is through 6 innings. He might be able to squeeze one more out of him. We go to the bottom of the 6th. The Phillies enjoying a 5-run lead. Wide clearance event is going on now. Toyota, let's go places. By Thomas Jefferson University Hospitals. Call 1-800-JEFF-NOW for an appointment. And by Dodge. Visit Dodge.com or your local dealer today. Phillies lead the Marlins 6-1. As we go to the home 6th inning, Darren Ruff, Kevin Franzen, Freddie Galvis. Darren has had a base hit tonight, and he takes a strike.
I think it's big, too, to have players on the team that when they face a left-handed pitcher, that they can have really great at-bats against these guys, and in some cases, or a lot, knock them right out of the box.
There's a base hit for Rupp. That's his second one of the night. And he's now 2 for 2. For years, StubHub has been the place to find great Phillies tickets. And this season, you can get more with your tickets thanks to StubHub Fan Rewards. So get to StubHub and grab your seats today. Kevin Franzen is 1 for 2. He hit into a double play his last time up. Outside, 1-0.
Notice how the guys, they keep looking down there. Juan Samuel, third base coach. Sandberg likes to hit and run quite a bit. Not a situation here, however.
This might be 2 again. There's 1 and 2. Franzen tries to slide in case it was a throw in the base path. And he's hit it to 2 double plays tonight, both 5-4-3 double plays.
Wow. Not going to be happy about that.
Here's Galvis. He's 0 for 2. He's grounded out and he is flied out.
Well, in time, maybe this pitcher might be okay, but again, he's right over the top. Very easy to hit there.
Giancarlo Stanton makes the catch on the glove side, and Galvis is retired. So are the Phillies here in the 6th. No runs, 1 hit, and nobody left. It's a 6-pitch inning. Sarge, don't forget tomorrow to wish Ryan Sandberg a happy birthday.
Oh, okay.
Well, it's time now for your local Honda dealers game summary. Good job by Roy Halladay. Through 6 innings, he is out of the ball game right now. The first 4 hitters have really been good for the Phillies here tonight. And the big 3-run home run again, 2 in a row for Chase Utley. 2 tape measure home runs, long ones to right field by Utley as he's really hit both of them. Brian Flynn, Phillies have really hit him around. Through 6 innings, they're going to turn it over. There's Chase Utley who's hit the 3-run home run tonight. They're going to turn it over to Justin DeFreitas as he comes in once again with the bases loaded. No. He's got to wonder, what am I doing in here with nobody on base? It seems like he always comes in with a lot of men on.
Well, he'll face right-handed Jeff Mathis to start things off. When he throws a strike, it's 0-1. So the Phillies get 6 out of Doc. He allows 4 hits, 1 run. And he's in line for the win if they can get the last 9 outs against the Marlins. Popped him up right side. There's been a lot of that tonight. And Kevin Franzen makes the catch. Probably the biggest out for Doc was the pop-up of Giancarlo Stanton to end the 5th inning. These lucky fans are tonight's Citizens 7. They were issued a prize pack courtesy of Citizens Bank. Citizens Bank with most 7-day branches in the Philadelphia area. To find a branch near you, visit citizensbank.com. I mean, at that point, when he was able to get Stanton, the Phillies are up 3-1, and the Marlins had 2 on.
Yeah.
And he got Stanton out front. He was able to pop it up into foul territory.
Right, and if he pops one out of the ballpark and Juan Pierre pinch hits, he's going to get himself an extra base hit. They would have taken the lead.
And Pierre now ties Joe DiMaggio on the all-time hit list with that double to right field.
And I would figure to tie Joe D on an extra base hit. I think he isn't aware of things.
He grabbed that ball right out of Jimmy Rollins' hand.
He's telling Jimmy, I just tied Joe D.
Just tied Joe DiMaggio.
I mean, you think you're ever going to tie Joe D? I just did. That's pretty cool. Jimmy will too.
That's 2,215 for Juan Pierre.
How many does Jimmy have?
I'm going to tell you that in a second because I just had it updated on my list. Jimmy Rollins, with his 2 hits tonight, has 2,163.
Sure. So he's got a chance to get to Joe D too, but not as quickly as Juan Pierre. He's telling Chase Utley, you know, I just tied. Pretty good, isn't it?
Solano is 2 for 3. Doubled his last time up. Got to keep an eye on Pierre.
Walking in here this afternoon, and they were out here hitting extra, and there he was, Juan Pierre, right among the group of them hitting extra. That's pretty impressive.
Carlos Beltran, of course, is still playing, so he's right on his heels. He could pass Darrell Evans and Greg Nettles. He's having a full-blown conversation with Jimmy Rollins as he's leading off the second base bag.
Well, Juan Pierre out there with a couple guys he played with that really respect him, as everybody does who ever played with him.
Two is the count to Solano.
There's some rapid potential right there, those two.
Joey Espada picks that one on one hop. J.C. Romero's old high school teammate, a college teammate. Fly ball, shallow right. Long run for Ruff. Here he comes. Foul territory. Makes the sliding grab. He's going to have to replace his divot. Pierre goes back to second. That's a heck of a play by Darren Ruff.
Tremendous play by Darren Ruff. Really got a good jump on that, too, and ran it down. And Chase Utley's pointing at the grass right there and like, man, you ought to fix that. Chase is a real big-time golfer. And he sees that right there, and he's thinking, man, we got to fix that turf, don't we? Look, he gets it in a few spots. That's not a divot. That's a tunnel.
That's a nice job. Covered a lot of ground.
Covered a lot of ground. Tore up a lot of turf. That right there, that's a big one. That's a big man did that.
Ed Lucas now 1 for 3. Swing and a miss. Seven more outs for the Phillies to get this victory. Check swing. And it's 1-1.
And Roy Halladay giving them 6 tonight. Last time they couldn't quite get him through that 5th inning with a pretty good lead. So no win that night. But obviously tonight he is eligible to win the ball game should they hold on to this lead because he gave him a solid 6.
Trying to get his 203rd career victory. He would be 99 games over 500. Back toward the middle, over the glove of DeFreitas. Utley is there, and the side is retired. 4-3 on the putout. No runs, 1 hit, and 1 man left. 6 outs to go for the Phillies bullpen as we stretch here at Citizens Bank Park. The question, Chase Utley's 31 home runs at 06 broke the Phillies club record for home runs held by what second baseman?
Has to be Juan Samuel.
Does it?
It is for me.
And it is 28, 1987. He's been the answer twice now.
Couldn't have told you
last
that.
Couple of days.
How many he had or what year, but couldn't imagine anybody hitting more than Sammy.
He's laughing about something right now as he goes out to coach third base.
I'm thinking these guys used me twice in a trivia question.
What do I get for that?
I must be big around here. It's almost like he knows we're talking about it.
There's Ryan Webb, his 62nd game. All the issues the Marlins bullpen has had, his earned run average is under 3.
Sinker slider guy with a real heavy sinker ball, and when he's on, he's hard to hit.
Another chance to remind everybody that the Be a Fanatic About Reading program presented by Comcast is available for teachers in grades K through 8. The program encourages students to read for 15 minutes a day. For information, email fandev@phillies.com. So Pete Orr will pinch hit for Justin DeFreitas. Pete hitting 188 on the year, and he slaps that one toward the hole. Backhanded by Echeverria, and he flips in time to get a very fast runner.
Oh, that was a tremendous play. You said flip. That's exactly what he did, and look how much he got on that throw. This guy has a chance to be a good player. They're trying to rebuild in so many areas as they seem like they have to do a lot of different times. And in this case, you got a guy right here, you don't teach this. In the air, flips it, gets him. As you said, Orr can run too. Not like he's running down there with heavy legs.
Echeverria from Cuba. And they acknowledge that they may have rushed him to the big leagues offensively, but certainly not defensively. He's made 14 errors this year, but he's gotten better defensively as the year's gone on. Here's Cesar Hernandez. Speaking of getting better as days have gone on.
Yeah, he did some table setting tonight. He scored 2. Jimmy scored 2. Chase Utley scored 2. 6 runs and 7 hits out of those first 3 guys.
Broke his bat, a grounder to third. Coughlin. Kevin Coughlin, a former infielder turned outfielder, now infielder again. He's done a pretty good job over at third tonight.
And Webb comes in, does what he does, throws ground balls.
Rollins is 2 for 3. And it's 0-1. Back toward the middle, a base hit for Rollins, his third hit of the night.
What about a kick save there, it looked like, and decided that's hit pretty hard.
Well, it gives Chase Utley another chance with a base runner. Chase tonight is 3 for 3.
Good job by Jimmy using the middle of the field with a sinker baller. He thought about it, and I think I'll move my foot.
Chase has 4 RBIs in the ball game. His average is up to 281. It's turned into a pretty solid year for Chase, and the last 2 nights have certainly helped.
How about him popping this breaking ball? And that was a long ride, too, off the scoreboard out there. That one probably went further than the one last night. You figure the area was in into. The hits he has tonight, too, hitting the ball hard to left field, off a left-hander who was ahead of him at that time. And then earlier in the count, he pulls the ball. And that's a guy who's seeing it really well and has a good feel right now. And has his base.
.48 extra base hits for Chase, counting the home run tonight. Opposite way. On the run is Yelich. He has room. A few steps from the track, and he puts it away for the final out. No runs, 1 hit, and 1 man left for the Phillies. We've completed 7. Back to the bullpen for the Phillies when we return. Let's go further. And by McDonald's, I'm loving it. Now we go to the 8th inning. Folks watched Roy Halladay throw 6 innings. He allowed 1 run. Then Justin DeFreitas pitched a scoreless 7th. Now B.J. Rosenberg will take over here in the 8th inning for the Phils. They'll face Christian Yelich, Giancarlo Stanton, and Justin Ruggiano. Rosenberg has been very good for the Phillies. Cliff Lee, he won last night with 14 strikeouts. Looks like he's trying to win some game with Eric Kratz right now.
What that shirt say they have on him down there, I'm different. Guys were wearing that all over the clubhouse last night.
It was Carlos Ruiz's idea to get those shirts, and just about everybody was wearing them yesterday.
He's a left-hander. They're different.
Yelich hits it softly to the left side. Rollins will have a tough play and can't make it. And Yelich this time turns to the right and moves over into foul territory with no thought of him going into the base path. And as he settles in, it's time for the Major League Notebook. Murph?
All right, guys, thank you. Brought to you by Gwynedd Mercy University. And the Pirates and Cardinals are locked atop the NL Central in Pittsburgh. Well, they get their guy at the top of their lineup back tonight. Starling Marte is back from injury. He had been out with a badly bruised hand for almost a month, but back in the game tonight. That will certainly help them as they head for that final push in the postseason. Marte 1 for 3 in the ballgame tonight. And the Mets, guys, we told you last night that Matt Harvey was going for his second opinion. He went yesterday. The results are back from Dr. James Andrews, and he is going to attempt to rehab that partially torn ligament in his elbow, in his throwing elbow, instead of having surgery. Now, that doesn't mean surgery is out of the picture. They said that he's going to try and rehab it for 2 months, but if he has any red flags along the way, he'll shut it down, and he will have that surgery. But he's hoping that he's able to battle back and not have to go under the knife. So right now, Matt Harvey saying no surgery for him, and he's going to begin that rehab right away.
You know, the interesting thing that they talked about is their feeling is either way, he'll miss all of next year. So if he waits a couple months and has the surgery, let's say in December, if he doesn't show any signs of health, he's still going to miss 2014.
Right. It's not like if he has a little bit earlier that he's going to pitch for them and be effective next year, because that thing is a year. And when they diagnosed it in September, if he'd had in September right away, he still would have missed the whole year.
Yeah, which to me, guys, begs the question, why not just get it done?
Well, that's true.
To be honest.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I guess it's all in the eye of the beholder, Murph. Yeah. And I honestly thought when I read the stories last night, I didn't think there was any question they were going to put surgery off. I just assumed that they would have it. I don't know.
Maybe they're just, I don't know, you're trying to read somebody's mind, but maybe as an organization, they're just trying to let the kid get through to a certain point in this surrender and say, let's get it done.
You know what, Wheels, that's exactly what I thought. Maybe allow him to make the decision and believe that it was his decision to make. And, you know, he certainly, as that ball gets away from Carlos, he certainly seemed to be reluctant to have the surgery right from the get-go. So maybe that's what they're thinking. Let's let him, try to rehab it and then hopefully make the right call in a month or two and go ahead and have that surgery.
Well, the other thing, too, as much as they want to make the decision for any of their players, they also realize that, and it's a while, but when he eventually becomes a free agent, they want to make sure that they're on the right page with him in everything. I mean, this is a major decision because they don't want him to walk away and go somewhere else. 1 ball, no strikes to Ruggiano with a runner at second. And Ruggiano sends one to the alleyway in right center field. That's going to score a run, which is odd considering how good Rosenberg has been. But Yelich will cross the plate. It's an RBI double, and it's a 6-2 ball game.
Good job by Ruggiano. Got a fastball. Seen him hit some balls out that way before. Yelich, who took the correct path to first base this time, according to Angel Hernandez. And third double in the series in these 2 games for Ruggiano, who does have extra base and home run power.
Well, that ends a 12 2/3 inning scoreless stretch by B.J. Rosenberg. Although that run is not earned as of yet because of the wild pitch. I guess it is earned. Never mind.
Unless he called a pass ball.
Right. I believe he called it a wild pitch. Yeah.
Yeah, pass balls you can factor into earned runs
Right.
and unearned runs.
1 ball and no strikes to Coghlan. Inside 2-0. Over to third goes Ruggiano. And there are 2 outs. MLB.TV celebrates 11 years. Keep up with the pennant races and catch the rest of the 2013 season in HD quality. Watch every out-of-market game live on more than 350 mobile and connected devices. Visit MLB.TV today. Here's Echeverria with a runner at third. He's 0 for 3. Good breaking pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike. Marlins have 2 hits tonight with runners in scoring position. The one that Ruggiano just picked up, and the single by Ed Lucas in the 5th inning. And now Rosenberg is ahead 1-2. B.J. Rosenberg celebrating a birthday today. He's 28 years old. So Michael Martinez yesterday, and Ryan Sandberg tomorrow, and B.J. Rosenberg today.
Nice going. You're all over these birthdays.
2-2. Others celebrating today. Dan Herron celebrated with a pretty good outing for the Nationals earlier today. Did not get the win. Casey Jansen, Jose Ramirez, and Marcus Semien. Check swing, and they'll appeal. No swing, says Angel Hernandez. Fastball line towards center. That'll drop in front of Hernandez for a hit. So another run scores, and it's now a 6-3 ball game. RBI single for Echeverria, and Diekman's up and throwing now in the pen for the Phillies.
Yeah, he's going to get ready.
Yeah, Dobbs is out on the on-deck circle.
For a left-handed hitter if they were to go that route. And you're also dealing with a situation now they didn't think they'd have to do, and they may have to. I mean, have to, but may use Papelbon tonight because it's a save situation.
Here comes Ryan Sandberg. I guess Diekman is done, or ready to go, I should say. So they'll bring in the left-hander to face the lefty Greg Dobbs. And Ryan Sandberg signals to the pen. So B.J. Rosenberg has allowed 2 runs here in the 8th inning. His 12 2/3 inning scoreless stretch comes to a close. He hadn't allowed a run in the big league since the 24th of May. First time he's allowed a run since he's come back from Lehigh Valley. AT&T call to the bullpen. We'll be right back.
play of the game. This is a really good play right here by Darren Ruff. Hard down the line, into foul territory, tears up the turf. Michael fix that up later on. That's a heck of a divot right there. What a great play by Darren Ruff. That's our Hyundai defensive play of the game, brought to you by your local Hyundai dealer.
All right, so Jake Diekman has been brought into the ball game to pitch now for the Phils. Diekman 1-4, 2.91 ERA. Greg Dobbs has been sent back, and Placido Polanco will come up as a pinch hitter. With a runner at first base, 2 runs in here in the top of the 8th. Phillies lead it 6-3. Polanco pinch hit in last night's ball game. And he singled. Take strike 1. Fights it off. It's 0-2. Diekman has been firing strikes. Joe Marisnick is in the on-deck circle to pinch hit. Another foul ball. Outside, 1-2. Polanco and Dobbs are hitting in the spot that was held onto by Jeff Mathis. So you figure Brantley will come on to catch for the Marlins. Way outside again. 2 balls and 2 strikes. So Carlos putting the hands out, saying, all right, settle down now.
See, he wants them to shake a couple times. Maybe they'll go to fastball after shaking.
They do at 94.
Seen that Carlos do that a few times with some of these younger pitchers, try to get them to understand how important that can be to deceive a hitter, or to at least confuse him a little bit. And a veteran catcher will do that. And it's good to see him doing it with the younger guys.
Fights another one off.
They're playing him real shallow in right center and right field, and it's the way you really have to play Polanco nowadays. He doesn't drive the ball the other way that he did at one time. So he's more likely to dunk one out there. So they're, even with a 3-run lead, they're cheating out there to figuring he's not going to hit it over our head. This guy could really drive the ball like Ruggiano. You wouldn't do that with him. He'd play a lot further back right now.
Ooh, they decided to go slider, and he fooled him, and he gets the strikeout. Side is retired. Couple strikeouts in the inning, one by Rosenberg, one by Diekman. Marlins scored 2. They leave 1. Middle of the 8th. Carlos Ruiz will lead it off when we return. return. Flyers Rangers preseason highlights and a full Phillies recap and breakdown. Get all the news Philly fans need to know on Chevy Malibu Sports Night tonight after postgame live only on Comcast Sportsnet. Well, Jake Diekman got the last out in the 8th inning. Jonathan Papelbon is walking around, dusting off the mound in the bullpen as we go to the bottom of the 8th inning. Archimedes Caminero will be the new pitcher for the Marlins. He pitched last night for Miami, 26-year-old. Coy Hill is the new catcher for the Marlins. Not Rob Brantley, as we thought. And Carlos Ruiz will lead it off. First pitch is outside. It's 1-0. There's Papelbon. Well, Wheels, the landscape in Major League Baseball is going to change somewhat tonight. Texas Rangers finally have taken a lead after 9 days. They lead the Tampa Bay Rays 6-1 in the 7th inning in the American League.
Hey, there's some good stuff going on tonight.
That was going to be a big issue. I mean, they hadn't led a game in over a week. Wow. As Ruiz fouls it back. So anyway, in the wild card in the American League, the Rays and the Rangers have the top spots, but the Indians came in a half game behind Tampa. Well, the Indians are losing to the Royals 3-0. So the Royals 2.5 back of that final spot. It doesn't look like they're going to gain a game on Texas. But they will inch closer to Cleveland.
And in the National League, there's some really neat stuff going on.
Ruiz sends one skyward to center. It's fairly deep, but playable. And Ruggiano waits and puts it away.
For those who didn't want the wild card in the game, well, this is why the wild card's in the game, because there's some really interesting races going on right now. There you go.
Game 2 as the Nationals now leading the Braves 4-0. That game's gone in the top of the 9th inning. The Braves have 2 on with nobody out in the top of the 9th inning. The Nationals, they trail the Reds by 5 in the wild card. But the Reds are leading 9-0 over Houston.
But then you get to Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. Pittsburgh's losing again to San Diego 5-2. St. Louis is beating Colorado 2-0 early, and those 3 teams are really getting bunched again.
Yeah, St. Louis, if they won and the Pirates lost, would take over first place in the Central.
And the Reds just keep creeping up because they're winning these games and somebody's losing in front of them.
All for a 1-game playoff.
All for a 1-game playoff.
In the case of the wild cards.
Right.
Whoever wins the Central Division has a chance to be the 1 or 2 seed.
The Braves and the Dodgers are in a little bit of a funk right now. They're not winning a whole lot the way they were before to get the best record.
Yeah, because let's say as Dominic Brown draws a walk, if St. Louis wins tonight, that's 88 wins.
Right.
And if the Braves lose game 2, they're at 89 wins. So what seemed to be a surefire home field advantage for the Braves just 5 or 6 days ago.
Or even the Dodgers thought they had a shot at a no-brainer for that, and they've been in a funk. Remember that one year the Phillies lost 8 games in a row in the month of September and still had a tremendous season, went to postseason.
Well, Darren Ruff has been on base 3 times tonight. Ruff pulls one just foul. That nearly hit the base. Nice play by the guy with the glove, sitting next to the guy with the thing on.
Yeah. Bring your glove, you never know. Bring that thing over your head. That's what happens. Nobody knows who he is. That's a good thing.
Swing and a miss, and Ruff is struck out. 2 outs here in the 8th inning. And Kevin Franzen, who is 1 for 3, is heading up to the plate. Again, this is a safe situation, so Papelbon will come on at the top of the 9th inning.
Yeah, it didn't look like it was going to get to that point tonight with a 6-1 lead, but then it gave up 2 in the 8th, and now it's a 3-run lead, so here he's going to come into the ballgame.
Outside and low, 1-0. Well, Roy Halladay in what could be his final game here at Citizens Bank Park. He is a free agent at the end of this year. Goes 6 innings tonight. Justin DeFreitas pitches the 7th. B.J. Rosenberg and Jake Diekman pitch the 8th. And the Phils, with 26 hits in the first 2 games of this series, have a 3-run lead. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Now the 1 ball 2 strike pitch to Franzen. Way outside, 2-2. Tomorrow, Zach Miner will start the game for the Phils against Nate Eovaldi for the Marlins.
Yeah, they're going to need some guys too, because Eovaldi's been out for a while, so they're going to need bullpen guys, and the Phillies have already said that there will be a bullpen game tomorrow.
Ground ball back toward the middle. And Solano will throw out Franzen. Side is retired, and the Phillies will go to the 9th inning with a 3-run lead. Jonathan Papelbon is ready to go. He'll come on and try to close the door and help Roy Halladay to victory number 203. Of this game against the Marlins, only on Cure Auto Insurance, presents Phillies post-game live. Jonathan Papelbon will take over here in the top of the 9th inning. 58th game for Papelbon. Changes for the Phillies. Darren Ruff takes over at first base, so he'll move from right field to first. So Franzen's out, and Roger Bernardina comes on to play right field. Everything else is the same for the Phils. Phillies trying to hand the Marlins their 96th loss of 2013. A lot of young guys getting a lot of experience for the Marlins. But they really got to play some baseball not to lose 100 games this year. So here's Papelbon. He'll face Hill to start it off. Hill came on as part of a double switch. Papelbon has had 3 opportunities against the Marlins this year. He's converted all 3 into saves. He's pitched in 5 games overall. And the first pitch, a little low, 1 ball and no strikes. That's a strike, and it's 1-1. Opposite way, Dominic Brown will give it a peek, but it's going to slice into the crowd. And now 1-2. Every time the Phillies pitchers retire, the opposition 1-2-3. Comcast will make a contribution to Phillies charities. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Xfinity, your home for the most live sports, giving you all your favorite sports all year long. Phillies pitchers have retired the Marlins in order once tonight. That was in the 6th. It was Doc's last inning. He finished with 99 pitches tonight. Well, now it's 3 balls and 2 strikes. Fly ball, shallow center. Hernandez comes sprinting in and makes the catch for the first down. It is interesting. Nothing that he does leads you to believe that he's not an outfielder by trade. Seriously, I mean, his instincts have been good out there in center field.
Well, you can see why they want to play him some while he's up here, and why you can look at him as a part of your baseball team, because he can play a lot of positions, and he's a switch hitter who can run, he can bunt, he can do some things. He's a very athletic guy to be able to go out and play the outfield the way that he has.
Well, now Solano. Solano's 2 for 4 in the game.
No, he's not going to be the everyday second baseman on this team the way that Chase Utley, the year that he's having, and they've re-signed Chase for some more years, so they're trying to find out. That's what Rhino's been trying to do since he took over. There's a lot of experimentation going on right now. This place is a real laboratory.
Well, it is, and guys are bouncing around from position to position too. I don't know if Ryan gets the job next year, if that's going to remain the same. He does seem to like that, and it keeps the guys on the toes, moving them around from spot to spot.
Exactly. He's the first one to tell you he'd like to have a set lineup. Every manager would. But then he'd like to have some versatile players that you can move around and give guys days off, and they can play a lot of different positions as opposed to just one.
Upstairs, 1-2.
So one of the ways you win nowadays is have guys like Freddie Galvis and Cesar Hernandez who can do a lot of different things for you. National League Baseball, too, to get a bunt down, steal a base, those little things.
And a called strike 3. 90 on the outside part of the plate, 2 away.
Good pitch by Jonathan Papelbon. Just puts that right, as Tom said, on the outside corner. And you can see Solano knew it was a strike, and wasn't much you could do except walk away.
Well, that'll bring Ed Lucas to the plate with 2 outs here at the top of the 9th. Pretty good spot right there for that fastball. It was at 88 miles an hour. So now 1 ball and 2 strikes. Papelbon trying to close the door. Papelbon trying to earn his 28th save of the season. He's got his signs. And the 1-2 pitch. Outside, 2-2. Now the 2-2 pitch. Ground ball foul. Breaking ball served to right, and that's going to drop in for a hit. And it's the 2nd hit for Lucas. And that'll bring Christian Yelich up. It's a pretty good job by Lucas. You know, he was kind of fooled, but he kept his hands back and served it into right. Yelich is 2 for 3 with a walk.
Yeah, here's a pitch away from him, and he's down in the count. He got a breaking ball there. That slow kind of slurve he's developed over the last couple months, and good job. Just keeps the inning alive, keeps the game alive. And you don't want to deal with a guy on deck again in a situation where he could really hurt you. Doc got him out earlier in a big spot. And the guy on deck is Stanton, of course. So Yelich is going to do everything he can to get on base and keep the game alive for him. He's a tying run. Ooh. I thought that was a little high. And there goes the head to the dugout. So obviously their dugout did too.
One ball, 2 strikes to Yelich. And he serves it to left field. That'll drop for a hit. Ball nearly skipped by Dominic Brown, so that's the 3rd hit of the night for Yelich. And it brings Stanton to the plate as the tying run here in the top of the 9th inning.
Yeah, 2 good at bats right there with 2 strikes. It looked like he hit a split, something off speed, with just in a defensive position. Good hit, good piece of hitting right there by both those guys, Lucas and Yelich.
All right, so now it's Giancarlo Stanton, who is 0 for 2. He's been hit by a pitch and he's walked.
Yeah, this guy can tie the game by accident. No doubles in the outfield.
Runners lead off, not being held on. First pitch is low, 1-0.
Oof.
Wow.
That's one where they're thinking, how come our guy isn't swinging?
Papelbon, the owner of 284 saves, facing Giancarlo Stanton with 22 home runs, had 52 runs batted in.
Normally you say, well, stay away from a guy's power. Stay away from the power. And right-hand hitter. This guy, doesn't matter. Oh. Baby.
2-2.
Let's talk this one over, says Carlos Ruiz. We don't want to get in another one of these cripples like that, which a 3-2 would be. Look at this. Oh my. That's when you say just miss one. That's what happened there.
Startled the people behind home plate too.
It startled everybody in that dugout in red and white too.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Tying run is at the plate.
You just don't want to go there in that spot again.
Papelbon against Stanton. Runners lead off first and second. And a liner to center field. That's going to be in for a hit. Hernandez will play it on a hop. 1 run will score. It's now a 6-4 game. And it'll bring Ruggiano to the plate. They kept Stanton in the yard, but it means the tying run is at first base. This guy's no slouch either that's coming up. Rich Dewey's going to go out and talk.
Oh, Ruggiano.
Papelbon.
Exactly, Tom. Ruggiano has power, and it all got going here with 2 outs and nobody on base when Lucas and Yelich, both down 2 strikes, went the other way. 1 to right, 1 to left. Good at bats, and there's a 2-strike hit right there too by Stanton. So 3 in this inning with 2 strikes and 2 outs. They had elusive outs sometimes.
That's why it's hard to be a closer.
Yep. You get 2 strikes on a lot of hitters, and you need 1 more strike to get it over with. You can't get it. Yeah, we talked about that a lot this year. And hopefully that's not going to happen again here. You can still play no doubles in the outfield and give up a hit in front of them with a 2-run lead. And that's what they're doing. You see how, here's Jimmy. Now, what's he doing? Trying to move somebody over.
Trying to move Bernardino
yeah.
over. They play Ruggiano to pull in the outfield. He takes a strike. It's 0-1. They threw him a splitter.
Yeah, this guy has, that's why Rich Doobie came out there to say, hey, be careful with this guy with a fastball early, because he has big time power too. See, at 17 this year.
Carlos has had to pancake a few of them in this inning.
Yeah, well, they've been staying away from fastballs to him. All off speed, the 3 pitches they've used so far.
It's now 2 balls and 1 strike. The pitch from Papelbon. Breaking ball, and it's 2-2.
He's not trying to get a single here.
And Ruggiano was swinging fastball there, and he was out in front of that curve.
He still hasn't gotten one. 4 pitches, 4 off speed.
1 more strike, 1 more out.
Here we go again with 2 strikes.
The 2-2 pitch. Outside, he tried to get the corner from him. It's 3-2, so the runners will be off. Neither one of the runners being held. Yelich off second, Stanton off first. The 3-2 pitch. Breaking ball pulled foul. And we'll do it again. As it remains 3 balls and 2 strikes.
And the outfielders remain in that no doubles, don't hit it over your head defense. See right there, they do not want to allow an extra base hit to score 2 and put the tying run in scoring position, or the winning run, go ahead run in scoring position. So that's why you play as deep as they are.
Swing and a miss. He got it with a high fastball. And the side is retired, and the Phillies have won the ball game. It certainly wasn't easy here at the top of the 9th inning. But Jonathan Papelbon, who threw 27 pitches, gets through the 9th, and the Phillies win it 6-4 as Roy Halladay picks up career victory number 203. Well, they went upstairs. They decided to raise the eye level a little bit of Justin Ruggiano, and it paid off.
Yeah, they also threw him the first fastball the whole count, and it surprises him a little bit. It's not a strike, but it is a strike, and that's all that matters.
Well, it's all that matters as Papelbon picks up his 28th save of the season, and the Phillies win it by 2. They've won the first 2 games of this series over the Miami Marlins. Our W.B. Mason deliveries of the game, and he's been delivering an awful lot for the Phils these last few days.
Boy, Chase Utley has been so good. Here's that RBI base hit to left field. Had a couple strikes on him off the left-hander. Flynn just fights it off, hits it in the left field, gets an RBI out. And then the 5th inning, earlier in the count, a high breaking ball, and that takes a long ride off the auxiliary scoreboard, deep right center field. Chase's second 3-run home run in this series. He's hitting it all over the place. What a great year Chase Utley's having. He's down there with Murph. Murph?
All right, thanks a lot, Wheels. Here with Chase Utley. And Chase, Ryan was talking about it yesterday, and we saw it tonight. Your ability to hit the ball pretty much all over the field right now. Is that? Can you attribute that to something? You just seem to be locked in right now.
Just trying to put good swings on the ball. That's the bottom line. I thought tonight we played a good game. Roy kept us in there. We scored some early runs. We kept adding on, which is always nice. Bullpen came in and did a good job.
You know, it's been a good September for you, but it's also been a real good September for this team. What does that say about the guys in this clubhouse? 9-6 in the month of September as you guys battle all the way to the finish.
Yeah, like you said, we're going to battle all the way to the end. Obviously, early in the season didn't go the way we wanted, but right now we can finish strong and take it into next year.
You mentioned Roy Halladay. When you watch and you play behind a guy like that, you know what he's done over his career as he works his way back from his surgery. What did you see out of him tonight as he got through 6 innings tonight?
Yeah, he was better tonight than he was his last out. He was painting on the outside corners, which you like to see from him. And it's just a matter of time. The more reps he gets, the stronger he's going to get. And he can get back to where he was.
All right, Chase, appreciate it. Thanks a lot, guys. Back upstairs.
All right, Murph, thank you very much. The Phillies win it 6-4 over the Miami Marlins. It's Chase Utley for the second straight night hit a 3-run home run to help the team's cause. He finishes with 4 RBIs, and that leads to some handshakes at the end of the ball game. Phils win it 6-4. We'll be back to talk more about it after this.